So what I'm going to share with you here is something that I find useful that had helped me to grow. Um, Starting from a little bit about myself. So I'm an electrical engineer and material science in training, by training, and I'm a mom of 3 children and a poor kid. And this is the way how um, my family looked like in my daughter's eye. um, she is the one that inspired me to be part of this activity over here. I have been helped during my career by many mentors and people, either being female, male, who had helped me to be here. And there's not usually not a way to pay back, but there's a way to pay forward. So that's why I'm here. And I hope that there is the moment that I can inspire you. And so during my spare time, I enjoy traveling with my families and trying new things, new food, new activities. I grew up in a small town in the southern part of China. And the furthest place that I went to is about 30 minutes biking from distance from my home. And that is where my high school is. And so in my hometown, at least at that time, a typical path for girls would be to find a job after finishing middle school or perhaps high school. Things are a little bit different now, but at that time, that was a typical path. As a girl at that age, I was not quite interested in a life like that. And I was curious about how the world outside of my hometown actually looks like. So I chose this direction of a material sciences because my academic advisor is really a role model to me in the research. And he is also a strong advocator and sponsor of the Girl Power. After graduation, I landed on my first job in the electrical utility industry, where I developed a test trying to capture electrical signals of the aged material, where I showed like an example of it. So it is more or less like a medical doctor using the stethoscope, trying to listen to the heartbeat and sound of the lung, trying to tell if things are normal. But instead, what I do is listen to the power equipment. That could be like the power cable that I showed, or the transformers, motors, etc. On my way of growing, I find 3 spirits that are very useful and powerful. Obviously, the curiosity is my number one. It is kind of the driver of where my journey starts. But more specifically, it's the kind of desire to explore and to learn. It's like to ask lots of questions like, I wonder how, I wonder why, and I wonder what if. Would this work? Would that work? What if it doesn't work? What else? So I used to be a shy kid and often held on to my questions because I think they may be silly. But my academic advisor, who is the super brilliant researcher, told me there's no silly questions. Every question is a good question. It leads you to an answer, no matter what. I really appreciate how he encouraged his students to be curious and to ask questions. So the next spirit that I share is believe in yourself and be confident. A lot of times, lack of confidence comes from fear of failure. Taking today as an example, I had a moment asking myself, would I fail to interest you or share useful tips to inspire the young girls? But then I thought this is the perfect reason for me to be here and share with you the meaning of being confident. Another important spirit that helped me to grow is being collaborative. So I have my PhD degree in material science, and for the PhD work, you're usually required to solve a problem independently. But that doesn't mean that you're alone. From time to time, no matter you're doing research or just working on something in your life, you may feel stuck at some point. When you find such moment in your life, I would highly encourage you to reach out to the community and talk to different people, which you may be surprised how you can be inspired from those conversations. So to me, collaboration not only helps you find ideas, but also makes you recognized by the community, build up your confidence, and also make your passion go a long way. This is something that I have been practicing, but without realizing there's actually a theory to it. So what exactly is this growth model? And how do you take that into actions? So the model is actually the growth breaks into 4 steps. One is the first one is being set the goals And I wanted to remind you that when you set the goals, we need to start from something dreaming big. So like one blue planet. But then when it comes to a specific problem, you want to set up goals that are achievable and within a reasonable time frame that we are in. So dream big, but set short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. Make that happen gradually where you can achieve your dream. When you set up the goal, after you set up the goals, then what you need to do is to understand the reality. How do you do that? It's by asking questions about what is the actual problem? How do we come to this problem? Where we are? What has been done? What had worked? What hasn't worked? Why did they work? Why did they not work? And so we would be able to learn a lot of stuff from this reality. And then the next is, now we understand what the challenges are. What are the options? One of the good ways that I've used in my research is to read the literatures, to maybe perhaps like go to Google and see what others had been doing, and also locally that you would now with the benefit of being virtual, you would do the brainstorm, and you would be able to discuss with your teammates, like in this type of team setting, to collaborate, to inspire each other, see what are the options that's available to attack the problem or to achieve the goals. And then afterwards, then you would be able to evaluate, well, is this doable based on what you have, the resources that you have, the time that you have. Evaluate the problem, like if this is something that's affordable to that community that you're particularly working with, and then you can identify the actions to move forward. So that's all I have to share over here. And I wanted to open up the floor to everyone and all the girls to discuss about, what you may be able to use this as a way of learning.